Okay, so now I am going to create a frequency distribution and a histogram using Excel. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that the analysis tool pack is turned on. So I will click on File, and then from File, I'm going to go down to Options. And under Options, I'm going to click on Add-ins. And here is a list of my add-ins. I have the active application add-ins and the inactive application add-ins down here. You want to make sure that the analysis tool pack is one of the active application add-ins. And if it's not, you click on Go to go to the add-in manager, and you make sure that you want to have this checkbox right here with a check in it. And then you would click OK. And now when you click on the data tab, you should have the data analysis group over here. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to create that frequency distribution and histogram for this data set. What I have here is a list of 100 weights. I have 100 male students and I asked them how much they weighed, and these are the results in pounds. The first thing I want to do is I want to create a list of order statistics. Oops, order statistics. And what these are, the order statistics are going to be this same data set, but in order from smallest to largest. In order to create that list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this list over here. I'm going to copy these values, just copy them and paste them under the column that says order statistics that I just created. Paste the values there. And once I've pasted those values, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and click on home, or sorry, click on data. And under data, you notice that we can sort the data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the column where the values are under column B, where I have the column for my order statistics. I'm going to highlight all of those numbers, all 100 of those numbers I'm going to highlight. And then I'm going to click on the data tab and I'm going to click on sort, and it's going to ask me if I want to expand the selection. It's noticing that I have values beside my selection, so it's asking me if I want to expand to include those values. And I'm going to say no by clicking the second radio button that says continue with the current selection. So I'm only going to sort the values in column B, and I click sort, and I'm going to sort from smallest to largest, so I click OK. And then it sorts my values from smallest to largest. So you see the smallest value, or the minimum data value, is 118, while the largest data value, the maximum data value, is 250. So I have a range here of 132 pounds. That's taking 250 and subtracting 118. I get a range of 132 pounds for my data. I'm going to now use that range in order to figure out how I want to create my classes for my frequency distribution. Well, to cover that range, I want to have about 7 or 8 classes. So I'm going to consider a class width of about 20, and I am going to start by telling Excel. All I need to tell Excel is what Excel calls the bin, B-I-N, but the bins are really just my upper class limits. Upper class limits. So my upper class limit for my, upper class limits. Accidentally pressed delete. Upper class limits. So my upper class limits for the upper class limit for my first class, since I want a class width of about 20, and my smallest value is 118, I'm going to start with my upper class limit of about 130. So that means my first class would have a lower class limit of about 120, and the upper class limit, sorry, about 110, and the upper class limit would be about 130. And then the next class or 111, sorry. The lower class limit will be 111, the upper class limit will be 130. The next class would begin at 131, and the upper class limit would be 150. And I keep adding that class width of 20 to my upper class limit to get all the rest of my upper class limits. So I have 150, 170, 190, 210, 230, and 250. And this would be a list of my upper class limits, and we're going to call those bins in Excel. So the upper class limit is a synonym for the bin in Excel. And once I have a column that has all my bins and I have all my statistics arranged over here in order, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Data tab, go over to Data Analysis and click on that, and then the Data Analysis box comes up. And what I want to do is I want to tell it that I'm going to create a histogram. It's in alphabetical order, so you want to go down to histogram and click on histogram and click OK. And then it's going to ask you what the input range is. The input range is just your data values. You can either put the raw data or the order statistics. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to click on this little thing here, and then I'm going to highlight the data. So I'm actually highlighting the order statistics here. I'm highlighting all 100 of them, and then I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to click on this, and it's going to take me back here, and then it's going to ask me for the bin range. Well, the bins are those numbers we just put in, the upper class limits. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to scroll up, and I'm going to show it where my bins are. Well, these were my upper class limits. These were my bins. So I'm going to highlight those bins, those upper class limits, and then I'm going to come back here, and it's going to create my histogram and my frequency distribution in a new worksheet. And I also want to give it a chart output, so I'm going to click this box here so I can get the chart, the actual histogram. And then I'm going to click OK, and then here is a histogram. This is not only the frequency distribution with these upper class limits, these are my bins here, my upper class limits, but I also have my frequencies here. So I've created not only a frequency distribution, but I've also created a histogram. Now, Excel wasn't originally designed to give these histograms, so they actually give bar charts with spaces between the classes, but that's no big deal. You can see here that this is a roughly symmetric distribution. It's roughly bell-shaped, and the average looks to be around 190. So it seems like my class has an average weight of about 190, with a few people, as high as 250, and a few people as low as 130 as far as the guys or the males are concerned. So that is how you create a histogram and a frequency distribution using Excel.